So this was difficult to get you guys on.
We had to find some time, so we had to schedule it a little in advance there.
And it's like 8:00 on a Thursday is busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be a fun game because I don't know you guys at all, so great to meet you. But it'd be a fun game to just try to like look at you and figure out what you do, because I've got the Olympic jacket there, and I'm thinking, man, maybe like I don't know, some kind of winter sport. You know, like I don't know, man. Downhill skiing.
I wish from Louisiana.
I'm just sitting here in my mind going like, well, okay, what do these guys do?
Figure these guys out.
Yeah. So hey,
I wonder if the Lumiere guys, you know, they have the thing you sit on. I wonder if anybody's put skis on that slide.
Okay, could be a thing this year.
Yeah. Y'all been out there, Lumiere?
Yeah, we went out there last year.
Yeah, we didn't put skis.
Are they doing it again this year?
Yeah. They their episode comes out next week.
Oh, cool.
So we had them on, and they have big plans. A lot of good changes.
Nice.
Cool.
Extra hot chocolate stations.
Yeah, because that was a disaster. Yeah, we waited there for quite a while.
So now, you don't have to walk far. That's what they said. Let's see. So Ian Coyer and Scott LeBlanc, owners of the training ground here in Shreveport.
So, it was something athletic.
Yes.
I wanted you to keep going. I was like, where's he going to go with
what he says about Scott? Now I'm really curious.
I'm going to go with like an Eastern healing, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like acupuncture or something like that. You know, holistic.
That's close. Yeah.
Is it close? Okay.
Yeah. I would pay money to see you as an acupuncturist. That would be awesome.
I mean, I use acupuncture.
I know, but like a traditional one.
I've had a physical therapist stick me with those needles and shock me before.
Yeah, I did that yesterday to some people.
Feels great.
Yeah, functional dry needling it's wonderful. So
so I'm right there.
Yeah, I'm not you're doing good, man. You found a unique profession over here.
Right.
The only problem is one time I had I went in and this physical therapist had a bunch of intern or like young, you know, like minimum
Students
wage employees, walking around, and they forgot about me in the back room. So I had to text the owner and be like, "Hey, dude, it's been like 40 minutes." He said he'd be back in 15 minutes.
You know, in my experience, in the actual, you know, whatever, in big medicine, right? Hospitals or whatever. One of the last things you really want to see for something kind of heavy is like an intern, and they're saying like, okay, we're going to let you take the lead on this one. That's happened to me several times with very sensitive procedures. And it's so nerve wracking when they're training while they're doing their thing.
Imagine being on the other side of that, you know, as the student, you're like, oh, what's this guy thinking about me right now? You know, am I ready for this?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, and I've seen it go, and I've seen physical therapy work both ways, you know, and some places I've been into, it's like just, man, it's just chaos. I mean, there's just like people going all over the place. And it's like, where am I going? They're like, go here. Sorry. I turned the mics down because they were really hot. And then I've seen, and then like what you're doing, I mean, you're like almost like one to one with everybody.
Right.
And it's just kind of, and we had Ryan Bates on here last week, and he was like, it's kind of the same thing in the chiropractic world. Is you have some of these models where it's just like in and out, we're running insurance. And he's like, no, you know, his philosophy is you treat everybody differently based on their needs, you know? So,
right. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, Taylor's the PTA that works with me. We worked together for, I don't know, 5.5 years prior to me coming to the training ground. And, you know, we worked together great. It was a great marriage that was set up that I didn't know her before that, but we're trying to do a little bit more of one-on-one patient care, or, you know, as close to that as we can to provide them the care that they need and make them feel like they're the person we're working with and not just running around like crazy and, you know, timers going off and just hitting buttons to get them to the next exercise or anything like that. So,
I started just doing my own timer at one of the places.
Right.
All right, timers, like, I don't want attention. It's going off and you're across the room. I'll just turn mine off.
Yeah. So, we're trying to focus on that and keep quality high. And so it's tricky sometimes, but.
So let's talk about the training ground. I mean, we kind of need to start big picture.
Yeah.
So my introduction, I work out. My trainer, Stuart. Stuart. I've been seeing him for, I guess, 5 years. I mean, I think it was right around the pandemic, because I remember when I started, everybody had masks on, so it had to be somewhere right around then. And he's not part of the training ground, but he uses y'all's facilities.
So he's the only independent contractor we will ever have, probably.
Yes.
Stu's a loyal dog.
Yeah. So I started working out, and but through that, we were introduced to other services and training ground, and now my wife, she's been working out with you guys for a long time. So, but at that time, it was really, I feel like y'all have come a long ways with kind of like what your mission is, I guess you would say, and changed your model. A lot of changes have happened, and as a business owner, it's been great to see, and I think y'all have really gotten into your groove now, right? Would you say that?
Yeah.
But Ian, so here's my first impression of Ian. I'm not the best morning person, and I just start my day off with working out, or I won't work out. So I get there, try to get there around 8:15. And Ian is just like already full throttle, running around and being loud. And so just, wasn't probably the first type of personality I want to be around in the morning. So that's Ian. So, so training. But you have a lot of, that's your expertise is training, and Scott's expertise is in physical therapy. Correct. Yeah. And so y'all have ended up making a business together.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And kind of like can accomplish a lot in those two realms with the same client base.
Oh yeah. 17 years is how long I've been doing it. Since I was a kid. It was the only way. I was like, I got to make some money, but I still want to go be a doctor. And the doctor thing didn't want to work out. So I was like, you know what? This training thing's really doing well. Scott and I actually met. I don't know if y'all remember the Rafters, the Shreveport Rafters when they were here. I came home from working in the MLS or FC Dallas. Scott, and we had another PT with us.
Todd Zachary.
Yeah. And then that's kind of where Scott and I met. And then what was it? Maybe the second or third year after that was when Greg Palmer, who's the Shreve head coach of soccer, an English guy, he's hilarious, got with us and basically came to me and another guy named Brett Barker, who, I don't know if Leighton, you know Brett. I feel like you did. I don't know. He's based out of Dallas now. Okay. But basically Greg, me, and Brett decided, they came to me and they're like, hey, Ian, we want to do a soccer training company, basically. And I was like, cool. Sounds fun. Let's do it. And then we approached you, I think, at first, right?
Yeah, I was originally involved in that, but y'all were looking at like warehouses without air conditioning and stuff. I was like, I'm out on this. And it was way over here, but even further, Viking Drive.
Yeah, way out there.
Yeah.
And that obviously got shut down. So then we decided to, on Uri Drive, across the street from LSUS, y'all know the Bourbon Bar that's there?
Yes.
No, right beside. So that was our first gym.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was very small. We had these two machines called Toka machines, which are these automatic soccer machines that would shoot a ball at you, and you could learn how to take a touch, strike the ball, however. And then I had 2 squat racks off to the right. So I had been training throughout the years at Anytime Fitness forever. And I was in medicine as well as a respiratory therapist. So I was doing all these odd jobs trying to figure out where my life is going to go.
Yeah.
So we started that gym, and it just slowly started blossoming. I had what's called off-campus weightlifting. So Caddo Parish basically has where kids can go after school. And so I was one of the weightlifting coaches, and it just started building and building and building. We moved out of that location, I think, a year and a half over to Knight Street, which is getting torn down right now. It's a mess driving over there.
Mamma Mia's.
Yep, right? Mamma Mia's. We were there for maybe 7 months, and then we found our location off Uri, and which was awesome. They were redoing it. We were all excited, and then pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. And that was very interesting for our business model because I thought it was going to hurt us. In the long run, it probably made us our model even better because we're such a one-on-one based business. So the quality kind of took off. During that time, I started going around the country trying to figure out who's the best at training, going to intern, get to know these guys, and just took all that knowledge and kind of brought it home. And then Scott got involved after one of our partners left, and it's just been blossoming since. And that's a whole other fun conversation. Physical therapy.
Well, so I want to understand a little bit more. You're saying training. So is this sport specific? Is it just general health and well-being? Like when you say training, what do you mean?
So let me ask you this. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay. I can tell. So it's funny. So when it comes to training, right, there's a lot of misconceptions with personal training and exercise and whatnot. And what we do is we'll have somebody like Leighton come in, And basically we'll do a full history. Give me a history, a medical history, give me an injury history. Did you fall off a horse when you were 7? What ended up happening? And so from there, I'll take all that information. I'll perform an eval based off like little things like how far, let's say your shoulder moves, your scapular, y'all know your shoulder blades, how well they move on the rib cage, how much internal rotation that you have at your hip, so on and so forth. And it sounds silly, but a lot of orthos, PTs do this similar eval. I just took it and was like, okay, how can we write a workout plan based off that? And then from there, it just blossomed into this very specific training program. And it's been super successful.
Yeah. And so their model really, and so from on a consumer side, because Laurie's there, she's part of their program. So she'll, they'll have a new program for her every, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, 4 to 6
and
weeks.
she comes in, and whenever there's a new program, but she's matched up with a trainer one-on-one when she's there. Or sometimes it's 2-on-1 or whatever it is, but so they have multiple trainers that are there kind of designated too. So you're kind of getting a personal trainer, but it's what would you say, a group model or a family model kind of thing? It's kind of a,
each person has an individual program. So if we 4 were working out here right now, you would have one, Leighton would have one, I would have one, Scott would have one. And that's the catch, is that when I went and saw these bigger gyms that got to train these pros, you'd have 30 pros on the floor at once, which was baffling to me that you could have all these guys working out at the same time. And excuse me, guys, I'm coming off a cold, so apologies. You'd have all these guys working on the same floor. And I was like, how are they doing this? And they would have individual programs for everybody. And it's so sports specific, so anatomy specific. And that's kind of where our model has taken off compared to a lot of the other models in town. And you see that in bigger cities, Dallas, New York, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And it works because you can have multiple trainers working one-on-one at all different skill levels, right? Because you customize that to, so you might have some, there are some in there that are former college athletes that are my age, but they're just like a lot more getting at it than I am, right? And then you have some older people in there. And so, it's a pretty cool model.
That sounds really interesting, because a lot of times you go to the gym and it's just like, we're going to walk you around the gym and here's this and here's the bar.
Yeah, right. Well, it works. Why that model works for me, or even my wife is, we used to go to the gym, right? We did. But, we would wake up and some mornings I'm like, oh man, please let me see a text from Josh.
Most mornings.
Please let me see a text from Josh.
We had an ongoing $20. We had an ongoing $20 thing. Where it was like, okay, if you cancel on me, you owe me $20. And so the point,
unless it was the night before,
all we did is we just canceled back and forth to keep the $20, like
just even it out.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Well, so since you owe me 20, I can cancel on you at any time. No, I'm not out any money.
We thought it was motivation. It really
but
wasn't.
then we were like, and then it would be like we would have a plan, and then we would get started, and we're like, well, let's skip the legs. Let's not do that today. But that's why, for me, having a trainer, there's just that accountability, right? Yeah. And you don't have to think about it, because that's another thing for me too. Is like, part of it is, man, I don't want to have to like think what I just like to show up, and it's there for me.
Right? Yeah.
And it's like, all right, next you're going here, next you're going here.
So, thinking about this model, and it's so new to me, so I'm trying to understand it, and I think it's awesome. But I'm curious. So, like, what is the if there is a goal, what would the goal be from the initial consult to, let's say, 2 years down the road? Like, what do you want to see out of the individual from where they come to you in the beginning?
Okay. So the best answer to that is what the individual needs, right? So you come to me, I have people that will sit there in the office, and let's just say they're a post-op ACL that are 10 months out, or they're a 52-year-old that's had back pain most of his life, or to get even more crazy and intimate, somebody that just has problems in the bed, or somebody that has problems getting grocery store food out of their car. Like, it sounds silly, but when it comes down to it, we all want to be quality beings as we get older, right? Longevity is the name of the game now. And so if you get someone strong in all planes of motion, and you get them moving for how they need to move, right, they will feel better in almost everything they do. So it's a loaded question, but I've had people say they just want to, excuse me, guys. I've had people say they just want to be able to walk a mile. I've had people say, let's do a marathon. I've had people say, I want to deadlift 300 pounds. I've had people say, I want to be able to reach back and throw the ball with my boy again. It's, you ask them what they want, and that's the goal, right? Whereas, sure, I want to get you stronger here. You want to aesthetically look better. But I think we're kind of evolving as a population that we're realizing that quality and longevity matters, especially after 35, 40, right? At the end of the day, yeah, we all want to look pretty, but I know I have a 2-year-old coming up now, and like, I just want to be able to wrestle with him. I want to be able to play soccer with him in a couple of years. And that's kind of where that model is shifting a little bit, which is kind of nice in a sense, you know? It's gives you a little bit of a purpose. And you're not just building biceps and triceps. I mean, that's easy too. That's kind of, I don't know, it's rudimentary in a way. So.
But I mean, look, to your point, you see, and I've known guys like growing up as a kid watching the older folks in the gym, in our little local gym, that would just get like swole up. And then you see them 20 years down the road and you're like, man, they're in rough. And not that they're, you know, it's just what they did to their body just had these effects downstream that from a motion standpoint, you know, they just can't.
Correct.
And they always walked around naked. Like I never.
Well, it was like it was the tank top, you know.
Like when I was in my 20s, I was like, "Why are all these guys? They just have no shame walking around." And now I'm in my 40s. I'm like, I could do that. Like I could care less.
It's like, is that tank top grabbing that nipple or not?
Right. Yeah, cover that thing up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point though. It's you know, there's a difference between looking good and actually moving functionally. And so most of the things that we focus on are functional movement that actually, you know, will translate into what you're doing in your life. So it's not just like, oh, I want to look good. It's I want to move good and I want to feel good when I'm moving. So that's kind of what we tend to do with a little bit more functional exercise and activity. So
well, look, and y'all bring up kids. I mean, just at my age, it's just tough to get on the floor with my kids and do something, you know, or play catch, you know, and like, you know, they throw a low ball to me. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to bend over and catch this thing in a sudden movement. I'll throw my back out with the sneeze, you know, so it happens. But one of the cool things with Ian though, is seeing now you have so many years training these high school athletes. Now you have so many, they'll come back. I've noticed in the summer, they'll come back and they're playing in college. They're playing college sports, coming back and working out in the summer. And that's pretty cool to see, right?
It's cool because, like, again, like you create a community with a gym. Like I know Scott and me talk about it all the time, but like we can't go out without seeing somebody that we worked with and seeing them grow or get married or have a child. And like that's the best part is we have all these high school kids that I've worked with that are. I mean, I got a marriage invitation a week and a half ago, and I couldn't believe it. But the cool part with us is that the high school kids will come in, we'll see them for college, we'll see them for after college, and then a lot of times they'll ask us I had 2 kids in med school right now that are like, can you help us out? It's cool. Yeah. It's really cool.
You, the guy that went to, where did he go? Did he go to Parkway, the kicker from Parkway? Yeah. And you kind of like whenever he got recruited #1 kicker, whatever, by LSU, then people started calling you being like, hey, can you help?
Yeah. It's funny how that does that. Right. And like, it's always takes, when people like, a lot of people don't know that I work with the Olympics. I got to work under Eric Cressy in Florida, who's the Yankees basically director of strength and conditioning. He is the man. I got to work with all these cool MLB guys. I was with Serena Williams for a while when I was down there. Like you forget that some of that matters, but it's so funny when you get that one big timer, right? In Shreveport that everybody's like, oh, like what happened? The kid was just an awesome kid and loved to work. It wasn't super complicated. He had some different things that I don't think us 4 have on this table right now, like some real hypermobility, but the kid was a stud and he loved to work. And that is the biggest thing I think a lot of people forget is that consistency is what I see in the younger kids. The ones that succeed are the ones that are consistent. That show up. And that is slowly getting worse and worse and worse. I've seen over the years. So.
Yeah. Ryan even mentioned that we go with Ryan Bates. He's big into his daughter's basketball. Oh yeah. So pretty intense, you know, but he said, he tells his girls, he's like, hey, the difference between, you know, you just beat this team by 100 points. The difference between you and them is because they have somebody focusing and training them and dedicated to helping them. Right. You're no better than they are. Yeah. Right. And that is, and there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, obviously you're going to get the people that just, some of it just comes natural. Right. Some are going to have to work harder at it.
I mean, y'all saw the Cy Young winners last night, right? How many D1 offers did they have? 2.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of crazy. Like there is, I even talking to some of the MLB guys when I was down there, I would talk to some of them and like early specialization. I'm sure we're going to go off on a tangent about this in a minute. But early specialization is a big thing now, right? Your kids go travel ball. Your kids have to play from 8 and they have to go to the best team, have the best glove, have the best practice. And we're getting away from the aspect of having fun. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I know as a Essence strength and conditioning coach, as my kid grows, I'm worried that I have to make sure to keep him away from that market. If he decides to go into sports. Yeah. But that's a tangent we could talk an hour about.
Well, I had the conversation, it's funny because my youngest one plays baseball the most, but it's his least favorite sport. And I just had to tell him, I'm like, hey, buddy, what I was telling him, what motions do you do in baseball that you are going to do in football? Or, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You kind of like have to say like all these motions and movements translate to all these other fun things, And so he'll play all of them. But yeah, baseball's too slow for him. He's like,
it's crazy. Like most kids, they get, we've had people come in the gym at like within 10-year-old, 11-year-olds being like, oh yeah, this is it. They're done. Like they're playing tennis or baseball. And I'm like, why don't we get them outside?
Yeah. Well, I was watching LSU basketball the other day, and they said this kid didn't start playing basketball till he was 16. Mm-hmm. Yep. And now he's playing D1 basketball.
Go look at Aaron Judge. Crazy? Aaron Judge is a great example. Yeah. He played multiple sports. It's a tragedy that the states are going more and more to that model, and it scares me as a coach because people like a lot of we talk about all the time. A lot of these companies are profiting at so much money for these summer travel balls, and the reality is you're not really making kids much better. At least the research says otherwise. So.
Well, I was talking to a lady who's a coach, who's coached in college and high school sports around here, and she said that all of the coaches and all of the seminars she goes to, they're projecting in 20 years there's no high school sports. Yeah. That it's just all privatized, travel, elite teams.
Well, we went to IMG. I was with a team, FTK, which is a national club for lacrosse in Louisiana. We went to IMG for a weekend, and we were one of the only teams that ever beat their blue team, which I'll have to show you all the video. We got into a brawl at the end of the game. It's a whole funny story. But it was so wild to see these kids, these parents paying $80,000 to $100,000 for some of the stuff. And it's some of the best training I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the problem is most people can't do that, right? Yeah. It was absolutely wild to see that in person. So,
yeah, crazy.
So now, how does your part of the puzzle come together?
Yeah. So Ian and I started talking about. Ian's been trying to get me to the training ground for years, and it was just never the right time, So finally, with 2023, beginning of 2023, I moved on over there, and was doing a lot of training, learning kind of their model and how they go about training. Started doing some cash physical therapy while I was doing that. And then people kept asking like, hey man, are y'all taking insurance? Y'all taking insurance? So eventually we got into the insurance game. We got that figured out. But I think it was pretty apparent early on. I remember one of the first days I walked into the loft at the old gym, and one of our clients was doing some squats on a high wedge, and Ian was like, hey man, what do you like? I think she needs to do this. And I was like, no. Like she needs to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. And so we made like a few little adjustments, and all of a sudden she wasn't having pain anymore when she was doing her squat. So, the beauty of this is that we have two different mindsets. So mine's more of a clinical, formally trained physical therapy mindset. Ian's is more of like a personal training, strength and conditioning mindset. And then when we kind of merge the two together, that's when things really start to get fun. Like we can bounce ideas off of each other. He sees things differently than I see things. Even his training, that he did at Cressy down in Florida when he did an internship there, the shoulder work has made me actually much better at treating shoulder injuries. So just kind of changing the thought process that I have and seeing things through kind of more of his lens has helped me improve as well. So I think that the beauty of it is that it always meshes together. I have, patients that just had surgery, and they see how much fun everybody's having out in the gym, like exercising, music's playing, you hear him yelling and stuff. And they're like, man, y'all are creating something that's enjoyable. And they ended up going and starting to train. And then we have crazy, weekend warriors that go and run a marathon or something, sprain an ankle, and then now they need a little bit of physical therapy. So the referral basis and like you said, the community that we're kind of building as a gym, they feed off of each other. So it's been really cool to see that happen.
Yeah.
Now, before the training ground, were you part of like a bigger institution, like a hospital or?
Yeah. So my first job out of school was working in Minden. So I worked at an outpatient clinic in Minden. Best people in the world, man. They would bring me like hot lunches, like boxed lunches that they made. They were so awesome.
Where did you go to school?
So I grew up in South Louisiana. I moved here for PT school.
Okay.
So
you're already in the area.
Yeah. So I went to school at the Allied Health School here in Shreveport. Thought I was going to be here for a couple of years and go back down to, Baton Rouge, Gonzales area, and ended up meeting my wife. She's a PA. So we met in cadaver lab. We were cutting up bodies together.
Yes.
So
nice.
So I ended up staying here. I worked at a couple of clinics in town, and everything was going great. I needed more of a challenge, and I needed more to do. And after kind of nagging my wife for a little while and getting her on board. And I think she actually started training with Ian, and he definitely planted the seed there and was working hard on making me come on over to TTG. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love it. And I was even talking to a guy yesterday who quit his job. He was working, getting for the government, and he quit and started his own thing. And he's like, I figured I could work less and make more and do something I'm passionate about. So anytime, there's always just a risk, right? Especially, earlier it was easy to take risks when you weren't married, right? You didn't have kids, right? Didn't have a mortgage. And now it's like the older you get, the more you have to lose. Yeah. So, but it's awesome to see it paying off.
So as this is, primarily a business podcast, as far as, because this is so unique. I mean, for me, because I'm just so out of it, man. But the business model overall, like how do you put that on? What does that look like?
So if someone were to come to us, me and Scott, because that's our next phase, right? We just bought this building, we redid it, we bought this property, we're buying the property beside us, actually after this podcast, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out is like, how would we do another location, right? How would we do this? I think with the new gym models, if you're looking at over the United States, you're seeing a combination of what we're doing. You're seeing super successful PT in-house with strength and conditioning and personal training. And that's the combination because it constantly refers to each other, right? Yeah. Having good orthopedic surgeons, having good doctors that and involved is a huge plus.
With referrals, but also just having, it sounds silly, but like Scott and we have a great team. And I think a lot of people forget that like a good business has a good team, right? And we have orthos that I can call and text and that will listen to me. And as a personal trainer in that world, a lot of orthos that I've experienced in the past, they don't listen to you because they don't think you know what you're talking about. They think you're just a bro. And now that we have kind of gotten some respect in the community with a lot of these orthos and other docs, and they're coming to us to train, it's changed the game completely for us. So basically you do in-house PT, strength and conditioning, personal training. The semi-private or individual model is good combination. You're not going to make a lot of money off individual. The money's in the semi-private, obviously. And then from there, it's random. It's sponsorships. You can do a membership, which we probably have 5 to 7 members.
Yeah, like a handful that come and work out during business hours.
Right.
But so they're just using your facility, but
correct,
not part of the program.
Correct. You could have independent contractors like Stuart. I'm a little weary of that because I've realized in this business, if you have outside trainers that are doing something different or weird, it can kind of taint your model a little bit, right? Yeah. And that's, y'all know about that. Yeah. But that would be the next step is just open up a similar model in Bossier. But the problem is you got to find people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though, because, we're in different industries, right? And I have real estate, trade industry, trade companies. You're in retail, selling wood.
Material supply.
Material supply. Get it right.
But we'll call it whatever.
But all three of us are saying, because we do the same thing is what revenue am I referring out that I can bring in house,
Right.
and not only bring another revenue stream in house, but I can have more control over that aspect of the operation. So
I think the biggest thing too, and I feel like all four of us here, and I don't know this gentleman as well, but the best part is like Scott and I get to go home at night and make our kids dinner. If I want to go to the Cayman Islands for 6 days with my boys that I just got back, I can go. If my wife needs me to take off, we can do that.
Yeah.
We have a business that provides us a lifestyle that is getting more and more difficult to do in this country. And I think that's a huge plus that a lot of people don't talk about. It's just...
And that's why my philosophy 15 years ago, I didn't have any partners. I didn't want partners. I wanted all the control. But now it's like the freedoms I have, I would never be able to do without a partnership. Right. Because I can go away for a week and not get a phone call because I have somebody that's there that thinks like me and can do what I do. Right. And so that just goes back to the scalable model. Right. I was talking to one of my guys the other day we've exhausted all of his time. So I said, right now we've gotten to the point we've gotten to exchanging time for money. Well, you have no more time. So the money we're making is all we're going to make with your time. So now we have to exchange money for money. And that's difficult, especially when you're a small company.
Right.
Because you always want to view it as an expense. And I'm like, well, no, what we're doing is we're buying you more time so we can make more money. So it's money for money.
Yeah.
That's a big shift. Yeah. Most people don't get past that, right? And they just plateau and then they burn out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, the 3 years that I've been on board over here, there's been so much change. Like we haven't just hit a plateau and just leveled out at all. So I mean, it's been a constant growth, constant trying to figure new things out, constant change. And it's been fun. But sometimes you're sitting back and you're like, all right, when are we just going to kind of just kind of hang out for a second?
Right. As we're just constantly growing.
It's been really fun though. It's been really cool.
Well, y'all's new location's awesome too. I call it new. It's fairly new. The past year?
We'll be a year in February.
So they were renting space.
Where's the location?
9475 Linwood. So if what's by the Porsche dealership? Yeah. You go to that Porsche dealership and then take a left on Linwood. We're right down there.
It's close to your route home.
Okay.
Yeah, you can stop by.
Got it.
Yeah, swing on by. Man.
Come hang out.
Yeah. So, but no, I like the facility, and it's especially an upgrade from the space y'all are renting. But now you actually own the facility, and now you're buying the lot next to you. Right.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What are you gonna do with that? Picnics?
Yeah. Bonfires. I don't know.
Mini soccer fields.
We're not really sure. I mean, we know we could use the outdoor space.
Yeah.
We know we're gonna have to expand eventually too, and we'll need more parking and stuff like that. But that's what we're trying to figure out right now. But it was a good opportunity, and we felt like if we didn't do it, we would kind of be missing out on an opportunity. Yeah. So, but I think that there's a lot more that we can do. We have people asking about recovery type stuff, red light therapy and saunas and cold plunge and whatever it is. So there's a lot of different things that we have kind of written down and that we're thinking about, to bring to the table to provide for our clients. So, we'll just
if you can get a sports massage person in there.
We talked about that.
I'll be client number one.
Yeah. Manual therapy is a game changer. So that would probably be back to your business model question. That's the other catch is having a great manual therapist in house. They had one down in Florida when I was down there, Shane Rye, who's with the Miami Dolphins. And that man taught me some stuff because everybody there had training background, just like y'all don't know, but Scott started as a trainer and he'll have to tell you that story down in Baton Rouge because one of the best gyms in Baton Rouge is basically he helped come about. So I wanted him as a partner for that reason because he had that experience. But having a manual therapist is we have to find one and we need to get one. We just need one that can speak anatomy to us like the way we want it to and not be afraid to learn.
There you go.
That's the hard part.
Job opening.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout out.
There you go. Yeah. Call me, please.
So you talked a lot about pro sports, and I want to ask you this. I'm an NBA fan. So if I'm in front of before the games, the players are out kind of close to half court and they're doing the weirdest things.
You would be doing the same thing at our job.
It's just they're doing rubber band and their hips are going out. And it's just the strangest stuff. In my mind, I can see Kevin Durant doing all this stuff, right? Because he's had a lot of struggles.
Correct.
So I guess one of my questions is, and it's so exciting because, it makes sense. Everything you guys are saying to me makes total sense. I'm thinking back in the day, Rodman gets off the court, and then he's like, there's a story of him like finishing a game, and he's wearing Timberland boots, and he goes and he gets on the treadmill after the game, and he's running like 8 miles in Timberland boots after the game. And it's just how far these things have come to a personalized level. But I would want to ask you this: why, in your opinion, are these guys getting hurt so much now?
Ooh, that's another train that I need a cup of coffee. Your NBA point. So the NBA has some of the best strength and conditioning out there. I would argue that to anybody on this podcast. Daniel Bove is the New Orleans Pelicans strength coach. Slowly have made contact with him a little bit. He's changed the game with jump testing. There's another guy at the Detroit Pistons, Coyer. I'm going to mispronounce his last name, but I know it starts with an S. But a lot of the NBA is they're not afraid to evolve. And I mean, y'all remember the bubble, right? That was a whole concept in itself. They are on, I have a feeling that the NBA's trainers are kind of they're the next level on what's going to happen in our field. Like they're trying to figure out what's the next thing. But when it comes to the injury point, I've kind of been reading a lot about that lately with the Achilles injuries in the NFL and whatnot we're seeing. Part of me thinks, and Scott, I'll be curious to hear your opinion, is I think it's a combination of overtraining, right? Like we're doing to our younger generation, right? Too much training, not enough off time. Sometimes being on all the time is not a good thing, right? If we're thinking from a physiology standpoint, you have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic's your fight or flight, your parasympathetic's your rest. If you're constantly in a state of sympathetic, your body never gets a chance to heal, right? The exposure to these guys all the time, the exposure to constant attention, constant everything, I think is what's leading to a lot of these problems. And NBA, NFL, all of it.
So fundamentally an overtraining issue from youth.
I think so. And I don't think they ever get a break. I mean, go look at them. Go look at guys that all offseason, they think, God, I just got to work. I got to go work.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to rest.
It's like mama mentality.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there at 6 a.m.
Right.
We're going hard.
Which you can do that. You can do both. And that's the mistake. I think if I could tell a kid anything the first day, like I had an 11-year-old eval the other day, I'll never forget this. The mom was so thankful after the eval. She came up to me. She goes, I didn't understand anything you said. But the one thing I did understand is that you asked my child, how much does he sleep? And he said, I don't know, 6.5 hours a night. I said, you need 8+. And I gave him a little research, made a little joke about Messi or Ronaldo. And supposedly he's been like going to bed at 9 o'clock. Like the fundamentals we're forgetting about. And I think that's a whole other conversation in itself too.
Yeah. So the $20 thing that we had going was actually for our
it was. It was.
I mean,
you were ahead of your time.
We're really just on the ellipticals.
So
being made fun of.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Speaking of the NBA, does Nico getting fired, does that take this thing away, or are you still bitter? Are you still
didn't we
pretty bitter?
start with this whole thing? Was that
The beginning of the season?
Yeah.
He had just gotten fired the day we recorded.
And it's come to a head.
Yeah. Does it make you feel any better?
Does it make me feel any better?
Yeah.
In the morning, I'm driving to school. This is yesterday. And this podcast is up and I press play and me and my daughter listen to it. And they start out with, adios, Nico, is like the first word. And I'm just like grinning ear to ear. I'm so happy. I'm like clapping. And my daughter's probably like, man, you're a psycho. and I told her, I said, look, we don't want to, you never want to like cheer that somebody gets fired. Right. That's not a great thing. But he had done some really dumb things. and there's consequences when you do things that don't work out. And so I want to teach you, there's a lesson here, and I don't want to gloat over it, but it did make me so happy.
I think it made a lot of memes that I've seen.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
What I mean, in the history of sports, that's going to have to go down with.
Oh my gosh!
The Red Sox and with Babe Ruth,
right.
Gonna, I mean, that is going to be crazy.
Was it their worst season since 2018?
It's pretty rough.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
I love the Mavericks. I love the Pelicans, but
it's rough.
Yeah,
it's rough.
So you mentioned something earlier, and one of the things I love that I've been seeing a lot of is this cross, like these people that I think we saw it maybe first time I saw it maybe 15 years ago was a basketball player from college goes and gets drafted in the NFL and never never played football. He just like was a good athlete and they drafted him as a tight end. He played for the Chargers for a long time. He was like one of the best tight ends, right? And now you're seeing like the kicker for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He's like never kicked football, just was a great soccer player.
Yep.
He's like, I can do that. And now he's setting records, kicking 70-yard field goals.
Well, that was Aaron.
Insane.
You know, Aaron didn't play football. He was just a soccer player. He was a stud soccer player. Like he could have gone and played soccer. Still probably can go play soccer.
For LSU, we were talking about Aaron
Burrell. Yeah, it's amazing how that transfer. Like one of my favorite guys was with the Yankees that I got to work with when I was in Florida, Lou Trevino, who I think he's with the Pirates now. Maybe I'm not sure. He was a goalie for soccer, and a baseball player. He's a reliever now, but he was a goalie most of his life. So it's just you're seeing those talents transfer.
Yeah. And now it's like whole organizations. So like they have an organization just teaching rugby players how to be punters, and then moving them here.
Yep.
And they're like 27-year-old punters in college.
The Australian punters are all over the place. But I think it's important to realize, like, think back to when you were growing up. I mean, the best athletes played all the sports. Yes. I mean, they played everything, and they were just naturally gifted. There wasn't any of this like, oh, I got a hitting coach, I got a throwing coach. They were just good. Yeah. And I think that we're getting away from that, and there's a lot of opportunities for kids now to play all the sports and do all different things. But, at the end of the day, talking about like the injury situation, I mean, NBA players are just huge. They are just big guys. If you've ever sat like courtside and watching them play, it's unbelievable. I mean, these guys, you got a 6'7" guy, and then you got like a 5'11" guy guarding him, and they're keeping up with each other, So it's pretty amazing the type of athletes they are. But I think that we're like you said, we're staying turned on all the time. There's no downtime. There's no sleeping. We're staring at our phones. We're just always on the go, and so I think that a recovery aspect is definitely kind of what we're seeing the lack of. So
that's like when it was Zion.
Oh man,
was it Williams or Williamson?
That's a fun conversation.
But when I saw him at Duke doing what he was doing, I'm like, somebody that size can't keep doing that.
Right.
Yep. Right. Like, there's no way.
It makes sense.
No, it made no sense. I mean, it was fun to watch. Yeah. It's crazy. But has he even played? I mean, what's the most games he's played this season?
Are you caught up with him and what he did this summer and fascinating with his training?
Well, I mean, we've heard this before, right? Oh, he's coming back in shape.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
So regardless of how he plays, Daniel Bove, who I've mentioned before this training, they did a completely different route of training with him. So I went and read, and it was fascinating. They did boxing. They did fun things outside. I think I saw something about kickball. Like, he hated the weight room. He hated supposedly doing all that. And that's something else you have to keep in mind, is that most of these guys, that's all they've ever done is basketball, right? Most of their life. Yeah. So they went a completely different outlier way of training, and he lost a bunch of weight. I mean, we'll see if he's successful.
Yeah.
But it comes back to that individual approach. If you can find out what the individual needs, right, and what they really want, and that's probably the way you need to go with it. And that's probably going to give them the most success, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know. Comes back to that same model.
Well, try to keep it fun.
Right. You got to.
Most people don't like to work out.
No.
That's obvious. So.
Well, it's funny when even my 6-year-old, even like doing baseball drills, as soon as I turn it into a game, he starts doing everything right. And he starts smiling. But if I'm just saying, hey, just throw and hit this target. But then if I say, all right, every time you hit it's 5 points. Every time you miss, I get 5 points.
Yeah.
It's like, the whole time he's like, oh yeah, I'm beating you. Yeah,
I drew up some plays the other day with French fries and chicken tenders before my daughter's soccer game, and she scored 3 goals that game. And she's like, can you do that again, Daddy? I was like, yeah, I can. I
did it every game.
I like it. So we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this topic, because you said that you could go a long time on it. And intuitively, I feel like you're 1,000% correct, but mechanicalistically, I don't know why. But if you're going to tell a young kid, don't super specialize, in a nutshell, why?
All right, here's the best way to put it. In a nutshell, there's 3 planes of motion. Okay, you have the frontal plane, the sagittal plane, and the transverse plane in terms of like human anatomy. The sagittal plane, if you think of it like a piece of glass, you're just going basically up and down the glass. So baseball, football, most of the sports are just front and back. If I'm constantly doing something for 20, let's get unrealistic with this, 23 hours a day of just forward and backwards. So I just do this motion with my wrists, right? This part of my wrist and this part of my wrist will get super strong. But if I go to rotate or turn this way, that part of my wrist is not going to be strong. Does that make sense? So when you take a kid and you put them in early specialization, just playing one sport, all their training is those muscles. That same plane of motion constantly. Baseball or runners are a great example of that. Great example. If you're just jogging, how many joggers do y'all know that have like had knee injuries or issues because that's all they do is jog? You have to get the body into the other planes of motion laterally. And then you mentioned earlier the NBA, that weird hip thing that we were doing, that's the transverse plane or rotation. So what we did at the training ground is really, truly, I just look at what planes of motion you're not good at, and we put that in. And guess what? Yeah. You feel 10 times better. It's not rocket science. It's not something outlandish. It's just simple biomechanics, and you just get them strong in all three planes of motion. And then they're usually good.
And once all three of the muscle groups are, I guess not leaning on the others, just as a whole, now the body can feel less pain overall. Is that
correct? You're right. Well, and you're stronger and all, right? Because you have to always think of the body as like a pyramid. If the base of the pyramid is not strong, right, the top and everything, you can't keep on adding. So when we think about training and fitness and health and all this, getting people strong. Now, when I say strong, it doesn't mean you're deadlifting 500 pounds. It just means maybe you can squat with a 50-pound dumbbell, or you can do a correct hinge motion. That is the staple everybody, especially in America, needs. And I'll tell one quick story because this is always a fun story. I go to Japan a couple years ago. I'm in Japan and we go to this like tea ceremony and it's all super cool and fancy. And the women that were serving us were probably 70 to 75 plus. Older. And I remember I was so amazed with the fact that this one woman had this plate. She had all this tea, probably 10 or 12 things of matcha or whatever. And she bent all the way down to the ground to a full squat without touching the ground, gave everybody the tea, and then stood back up without touching the ground with her hands. So just her legs. I've never seen a 75, 80-year-old do that in America. Yeah. And that was normal there. It's normal to move more there. It's more normal for them to stay strong as they get older. And so I think that's the biggest thing we're missing in this country is you just have to stay strong. Slowly.
I remember when I had knee pain and just all of a sudden, and I thought, I was like, well, arthritis is in my family. I'm 40 years old and I just have arthritis. It's early, I got to get a knee replacement early, and then I even went to some doctors and they were like, oh yeah, man, just, we'll just inject you and do all the stuff. And then I went to a physical therapist and they were like, no, it's because you have no leg muscles.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's why your knees are hurting.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's
I didn't even know that was correlated, right? They're like, no, like literally your quads and your hamstrings are not built up.
Right. Yeah.
And I haven't had knee pain in 4 years since I started doing squats.
Good job, physical therapy. No, I mean, a lot of people don't feel the muscles that they're supposed to be like actually using when they're doing exercises. So I think that's another thing that we do a good job of is cueing, using tactile cues, like putting our hands on those muscles saying, hey, this is where you should be feeling this. This is what you should be feeling when you're making this motion. And then you start to make that kind of brain muscle connection and they're like, oh, now I've never felt that before. Now I know what I should feel when I'm doing this type of exercise. So, a lot of people, they look strong and everything, but they're not using the correct muscles. So not everything is working together, which leads to muscle imbalance and different compensations that can happen. So,
and for me, it was as simple as going up and down the stairs. Right. It was just like, it was painful every time I did it. And now, just you build a muscle and you don't think that that's going to pay off, right? And then one day it's just like, wow, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, you were really happy when we moved to the new gym then. Huh? Oh, yeah. No stairs.
I am too.
Yeah, that's funny. So let me ask you this. And we, Ryan brought up a good point. We had him on. He just said, most men end up neglecting their health when they start having kids, right? At the expense of their family and all this stuff, and they start eating bad. They stop working out because their family and their work, and they just don't make time for it. Yeah. So for someone who's like, that's a pretty big leap for doing nothing to go into signing up at like a training facility.
It is, yeah.
So like, what would you say someone like that, middle age, mid 30s to mid 40s or up to 50, that's just neglected their health? What would be the first steps they just need to start?
Get a good history, find out where they are, find out how strong they are, and then you start them slowly. I always tell people it took you, and let's use an extreme example. A morbidly obese person in their 50s, right? They've probably been obese most of their life, right? Since their early 20s. 30 years you were obese. It's not going to take just 6 months to heal you. It's going to take time. And I think people are so impatient nowadays that you just have to slowly progress somebody and not be afraid to regress somebody. Physical therapy does a great job with that, right? They have a total knee or an ACL. They're constantly trying to measure how far we can get that leg extended. It's the same thing with training. There'll be days where you feel great, and there'll be days where your kid woke you up at 2 a.m. vomiting and you slept 4 hours and you're still supposed to work out at 6 a.m. with somebody. It's probably not going to be the best workout. So regress the workout, but still make them move. Does that make sense? And a lot of trainers struggle with the progression regression model. Like they're not afraid to change things on the fly because you have to, because every day is different. And I think that's the other thing with a lot of the pros you see is those guys that are working with them, they're good at that. They can change on the model because they're managing time, sleep, travel. I mean, everything.
Someone who says, well, I don't have the time or the money to go and sign up at a gym. What would be the minimum someone in that state? What would be the minimum? Like, what would you suggest they be doing on a weekly basis?
Scott, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, you do have time.
Yeah, correct.
Let's be real.
Correct.
Like, you spend 20 minutes doom scrolling on your phone. Like, you have time. Like, go for a walk, get out, move. I mean, there's simple things. We do a lot of breathing exercises, even that just wake up muscles that just help you to kind of relax and calm down and go to a different state of mind. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. I'm just now kind of getting back into a routine of working out. But you do have time, and you have to say, what's important right now. And I think, all of us having kids here, health for our kids is extremely important. And there's some very interesting studies that show, as a parent working out in front of your kids and exercising in front of your kids, like extremely important for their health and how much they are active too. So, if you can't do it for yourself, think about the others around you and make that decision. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Just move more than you usually do. It's very simple. So.
Google's a beautiful thing too, right? Like I hate saying it, but you can Google very beginner things if you needed to.
Oh, yeah.
But you need to move, and it can be as simple as just literally going a walk.
So I got sucked in on social media to an app called the Death Clock.
Yeah.
Oh, never heard of that. What's that one?
And so you plug in kind of your history, what you do, family history, your habits, how old you are now, and then it tells you how long you're going to live.
Oh, man.
Wow. I want to see that.
So save the date. Friday, December 20th, 2069.
Oof.
I will be passing away at the age of 88.
All right, man.
Unless
pretty good.
Hey, I sent a screenshot. Laurie's out of town at Disney. I sent a screenshot of it, and it doesn't look great because it does have like a dead person on a recliner. It says save the date, and she goes, "What is wrong with you?" I was excited.
Yeah,
88. That's a good
solid.
life.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, I'm only halfway there, but I'm going to live till I'm 94 because I'm going to make changes, and it suggests changes.
Nice.
There you go. So
Just
anyway, so
changes.
that's it. Yeah, it's
They have an app for everything,
pretty
don't
pretty
they?
interesting, huh? Yeah. So and it updates your clock based off of your it'll sync to your workout or your steps or whatever you can, and then it'll start changing your date for you.
Is that a free app, or you pay for that, or what's the?
I think it was free for like 2 weeks to get this, and then so I'm gonna
That's all
cancel
you
it.
needed to know. Yeah.
I'm good. I'll put it in my calendar.
There you go.
So funny
Okay,
stuff.
well, listen, you want to get to some questions?
Yes, we do have some questions for our guests.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Put you on the spot.
Yep.
Okay, so number one, now we talk to a lot of people in Shreveport-Bossier. This podcast is about business, but it's also about Shreveport-Bossier in that the people that we have on are, movers and shakers. They're people who are building something in the community. They're making this a better place. I think you guys are absolutely on that list of people. So number one, thank you for doing that and bringing something different, a fresh approach to the town. Because look, Shreveport-Bossier, we're probably not going to go down as the healthiest city in America, right?
Sadly.
But this what you're doing, this model to me really speaks to me because it's individualized.
Yep.
And I think it's got a way to help people in the old school way of like, well, here's the gym, here's the bench, here's the squat rack. That's tough, right? That's a hard way to get on the ramp.
Correct.
So these questions, really do refer more to Shreveport-Bossier. The first one being, if you had a magic wand, what would you change about our area?
Ooh, I got that answer. Oh, yeah, right. Infrastructure of walking.
Ooh.
There is no walking paths. The bicycle paths are terrible.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to live in Broadmoor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, you're going to break an ankle if you go walking around there, man. Yeah.
Or trying to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Right. So my wife is a pediatrician. She's also German, Nigerian. So she lived in Germany for several years. And the first thing she came here was that she always was like, Ian, there's nowhere to walk. There's no walkability. Mm-hmm. The city's not walkable. Part of that is, I know our heat in the summer is dreadful, but in Broadmoor, whatnot, you have trees to cover that. Mm-hmm. I'm in 12 Oaks and we don't have a tree above maybe 15 feet. So we can't go outside basically until 7 or 8 o'clock in the summer. Yeah. You have to put money, instead of putting $10 million into more pickleball courts, put that money into infrastructure of the walkability of the city. Yeah. Make that enjoyable. Make that to where people want to get out. Take care of the parks. Like
we just had Carlotta Brown on. That episode hadn't come out yet, but she talks a lot about that. Because you think of that, I never thought of that. It's like she's like, yeah, where are sidewalks at? And I'm like, well, I never thought of that. Yeah. And now for developments, they're like, no, you have to put in sidewalks.
Yeah, right.
And it's something you don't think about.
Yep. That's the big one. And then the water infrastructure here is terrible. That blows my mind. He knows I go off on tangents about that, but it makes me so mad that we don't take that more seriously in the city. And I don't know why they can't fix that. But that's a fun conversation. Yeah.
So, it's bad. Yeah. The restaurants can't even mask it through the Coke machine. No. You're like, you just get like, I'll take a Diet Coke. You're like, oh, Shreveport water. Diet Coke or Shreveport water.
It's been good. You can tell which restaurants have invested in a filter. You're like, oh yeah, they filtered this today.
You kind of have to these days. Shreveport. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you? You have something to throw in?
Man, I'm not from here, so I never saw downtown Shreveport in its prime. And I think it's such a cool place. I mean, it has so much potential, and I know y'all had Bob on here not long ago, right? And so he's a huge downtowner. Yep. But I think that would be really cool to kind of see that revitalized and give more opportunity for things to do to the families around here. I think that would be pretty cool. So,
yep. I
like
it.
Yep. Okay. Next one, best meal you've had around here.
Recently. Who was that gave a shout out to Golos?
Golos,
yeah, that's right. Who gave the shout out to somebody on here? Gave a shout out to them, and I've seen it like 10 times now. We got to go over there to that.
They make a good hamburger.
Yeah, I heard they have those fresh cut fries too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who gave me that shout out. One of our guests
meal.
Oh, I got mine. Right. We like Korean and Japanese, obviously. Jin's Eatery in Bossier, I think on Barksdale. We DoorDashed it the other night because we were just struggling with our son. It was fantastic kimchi. If you like Korean food, it was pretty good for Shreveport, Bossier. Okay. Not going to Dallas.
I like it.
Jin's Eatery.
What's tell Shay? Shay loves him some kimchi.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
I'm trying to think of recently. I don't think I've been eating out a whole lot, but somebody was talking about the Mabry House the other day. It's always solid, man. And then, the chef's table. Have you ever done that?
I've not done it, but I'm aware of it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's like 7 courses. All of them come with drinks.
Cool, and it's just a cool experience.
It is cool.
In the old house.
Yeah. That's one of my faves.
I like that answer. First time we've had Mabry House on here. Okay. What are you excited about personally, professionally, all the above? Just what are you excited about?
I'm excited about 2026. I think that's going to be, we talked earlier kind of about when are we going to kind of we've hit our stride, but when are we going to kind of level out and have some time to think about future plans and ideas? And I think we're getting to a point where we can start to do that. Physical therapy is going good. Training's going good. We're buying the lot next to our building. We have, great clients. We have the best. Our staff right now is at the all-time best. Yep. We are extremely lucky and blessed about that. I'm excited about the next year coming up because we finally are getting settled into this new building. Mm-hmm. We've kind of paid for all the things that we didn't think that we were going to need, that we needed. And I think the future is looking pretty cool right now for us in the next year. So I'm excited about seeing where that brings us.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I feel like the next 3 years, I'm going to hit the peak of my career. in terms of all the knowledge I've gained. I feel like having him beside me to criticize me, kind of to hold my own. I know it sounds silly, but like you got to have somebody like that, right? But I feel like I'm at the peak of my career in terms of knowledge and what we're doing. Agree with him. I'm kind of ready to start planning the next 3 years, 5 years. Like, what are we going to do? And I feel like we're becoming one of the better gyms in Shreveport Bossier, and that excites me to the point where we can be like, yeah, we'll take you on as client, or no, we won't take you on as client. I think that's another silly, but I'm excited to have that opportunity.
Great. I love it. You'll be able to get rid of Leighton.
Yeah, I know, dude. Nice. Leighton, he's so funny because I'll be working on, like, I always am working with a client that was crippled and now she's not. She's doing awesome when he walks in. And every time he walks in, the lady goes, he's such a big man. And that's it. That's all she says. And then he walks by and I'm like, I try not to get too much on Leighton now, but she says it every time. He's such a big man. And just like that, I'm like,
man.
Right? And then I'll see Lori. I'm like, what's up, Lori? And it's just,
that's so funny.
So, yeah,
that's good. You mentioned something that is a good point to, I think, that advice I give to people. When you're buying a facility or moving to a facility, I'll say, well, what's your budget? And they'll tell me, and I say, double it.
Yeah.
Because you don't, just double it.
It's like
whatever it is.
Window blinds.
Like, you just don't think about it until you're in there.
Yeah. Insurance, man, that's been the craziest for us.
Oh, yeah.
Insurance. And then one of our columns sadly got hit the other day in the front office. And just, it's always something, right?
Yeah.
Have the budget for that. Always.
Like it. Cool. Well, we have sponsors, so we're going to read the sponsors. Priority Roofing, locally owned, family and business, specializing in residential and commercial roofing, repairs, replacements, no job too small. Give them a call, 318-202-2123. By the way, these are getting harder to read. I need to bring my readers. I can't zoom in on my notes app. There's no zoom in on the notes app. So yeah, Priority Roofing. You're in a Stonewall area?
No, in Shreveport.
You're in Shreveport.
Yeah.
Plumber for Hire, locally owned plumbing company specializing in residential commercial plumbing. No job too small or too big. They can handle it. They get jobs within 24 hours. 318-709-9090. Clint Davis Counseling, helping people make lasting internal change for external growth and success. 318-562-6903.
Ivy's Building Materials. We have 3 locations in Halton, Blanchard, and Mansfield. We are a locally owned home center. So we have everything you need to paint a house, fix a roof, build a house, remodel your house. Come see us, ivylumber.com.
Repair your gym.
Or repair your gym.
They got it. They got it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks guys. Plug, where can they find you guys? Social media?
Yeah, we're terrible at social media, and that's partly just because we've been busy.
2026.
That's a goal. That's a goal. We're gonna try to hire somebody for that. ttgnwla.com. Is our website. You can go there, call us. Usually someone's always there from 8 to 5 to answer the phone.
318-716-1664. That's our
and then our
line.
Instagram, I think, is either TTG Sports Performance, but if you go to the website, you can pop it there. But I haven't logged onto the Facebook in probably
stop by
2 months.
Corner of Flournoy,
9475
Come hang out.
Avenue. Yeah.
Come listen to music. It's the best part. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to, as a Christmas gift, I'm going to buy you guys a sub. You got to have some low end. That's all I think of. And everybody, it comes to our house complains because I have like this we turn on music at the pool. Gotta have a sub.
Got the sub.
I'll
put it in the bag. We'd love that.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna do.
All right.
I love it.
Awesome.
Fellas, great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Great work. So
Yes.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks guys.
Thanks guys. Appreciate y'all.